I'm here with the one and the only Gully Bear, and today we're going to be discussing 10 pros and cons of owning a German Shepherd.
Sasha CB, my name is Sasha, and welcome to today's episode.
Number 1, first and foremost, which is maybe how you know this breed. German Shepherds are extremely intelligent animals. And to be placed in the top tier of intelligence, breeds must understand a new command after only 5 repetitions and must follow the first command given to them 95% of the time. That being said, these dogs need plenty of structure and stimulation. They can either be your best friend or your worst nightmare. Or at least that's how it can seem. These dogs are beautiful creatures, which is pretty self-explanatory. Despite their stoic persona, these are very charming creatures. I take this one out for a walk probably 2 to 3 times a day, depending on how much time I have. So you definitely need to exercise them a lot. Their high energy combined with their intelligence, Gully, is what makes them great working dogs. That's why they're used for police work, search and rescue, therapy, guide dogs, all of that fun stuff. So if you tend to be more of a couch potato, this is definitely not the right dog for you because you and your pup are going to be unhappy campers because the dog's going to want to go out, you're not going to want to go out, and it's just clash of personalities. Opposites don't always attract. Dogs definitely need a job. Left to their own devices, they can be a complete disaster. They'll become destructive, they'll chew, they'll bark a lot. You just don't want to deal with that. So if you don't have the time and energy to put into one of these, just don't get one. It's not a good idea. Let me discuss my least favorite quality of these dogs, and if you've had one, maybe you can relate. And that is not our height difference right now, but it's the shedding. German Shepherds are a solid 9 on the scale of shedding fur domination. So if you plan on getting one of these, be prepared to sweep daily, vacuum, have lynch rollers everywhere, or you'll just have tumbleweeds of hair flying around. Currently, she is shaved, so there's nothing that comes out, which is unbelievable, except from her head. But when she's not shaved, I have to brush her 2 times a week, and there's constantly foxtails and little thorn balls getting stuck in her coat when we go out for hikes, so that's never fun. Ultimately, the shedding never ends with these guys, and it never will. So one downfall. If that's something you're sensitive to, don't bother. There's no way around it. The only reason she's shaved right now is because she got in a little tiff, if you will, when I didn't have her. If you're thinking the long-haired ones don't shed that much, you are sadly mistaken, my friend. I've had both the standard short hair as well as this long-hair beast, and it's the same. It's out of control. You're never gonna get around that. Another one of my favorite qualities about these dogs is that they are amazing watchdogs. They're instinctively very protective. Sometimes they're overprotective, like this one. She doesn't like anybody coming near me. They're very possessive over their family, their human, their territory, their items, essentially anything they value. There you go. Because they're overly protective, they can sometimes be very aggressive towards strangers. Gully, in fact, loves to sit like this, and she's basically on my feet. Now, she's not really trying to be cute or anything. She basically plants herself between a quote-unquote offender and me because she doesn't want anyone getting close to me. Basically, their primary purpose in life is to please their master, and they want to possess you. They don't want other people around you. Obviously not all of them, but they don't want strangers around you. They're going to protect you at all costs. So it's not going to be the type of dog you take to the park to go meet people, and they're not going to be greeting your dinner party guests with wagging tails and all of that. So if you're looking for an overall friendly dog that's low liability, don't do it. Next, these dogs can be super loving, loyal creatures to their family and friends, but they have a negative stigma. And for what reason? Well, look at these big teeth. They are not always friendly to people. And on top of that, they have bad handlers sometimes. And people have had negative experiences with German Shepherds. For example, they've been bit by one, or their friend or family member has. Or they see them on TV with the police. And just the history of the breed is not the best. So be aware that people might not like you or might have some sort of prejudice against you for having these dogs. I've experienced this quite a bit with both of my Shepherds, and you know, you just have to be one of the good dog owners to help erase those negative stigmas. Now, the reason I'm emphasizing this point so much is because a lot of people get these dogs and they think, wow, they're amazing, they're great guard dogs, this and that, but they don't realize all of the time and energy that goes into training them. Gully, back. And you don't want to be walking around with one of these beasts and not know how to handle them. It can be incredibly dangerous and a high liability, which is why dog attacks happen. It's just, you know, it just adds to the negative stigma. So be aware that people might not like you or might have some sort of prejudice against you for having these dogs. I've experienced this quite a bit with both of my Shepherds, and you know, you just have to be one of the good dog owners to help erase those negative stigmas. Another thing, if you work a lot or you're not home too much, definitely not the breed for you. You cannot leave these animals unattended for more than 8 hours a day because they're going to become destructive and a pain. They might start digging, chewing, barking. You're going to get complaints. And it's also not good for the animal. They need stimulation. They're very social creatures. It's almost as if you're just neglecting it. You get bored easily as well as lonely. So I wouldn't be testing out, you know, the dog's loneliness threshold or depression threshold, because I feel this one gets kind of lonely without me, even if she's left with family members. She doesn't like being away from me that long, right, Boobas? Back and emphasize another point, which is that they are very slow to warm up to people. Sometimes they never warm up to certain individuals for whatever reason. And they're not a super friendly dog breed. They might love you, but they are definitely weary of strangers. They can be very selective as to who they are themselves around. I know it sounds odd, but Gully especially, she doesn't play with everybody. She needs to get to know you. You need to feed her or something. And sometimes she'll warm up quickly with certain people, but normally it's not happening. They can be one-person dogs. So even if they're family dog, they might not be mean to your other family members necessarily, but they also might not be super friendly and affectionate and cuddly with them like this. And that's because they can claim one human as their own, and they'll only want to play with them, sit at their feet and all. Now this doesn't mean that the dog's going to be mean to your other family members, but they're just not going to be as cuddly and affectionate if they have that personality. And again, this isn't all of them. It's just one of those things you don't know until you get one. They all have their own personalities. She's watching my back literally right now. There's some people walking around. Last but not least, one of the things that can be can make it a little difficult to have these dogs is that it's not always easy to find somebody to watch them when you're away. So Gully especially needs to be left with family, or sometimes she can be boarded because not everybody can handle these dogs. I don't even think I have any friends, unfortunately, that I can leave her with. And again, that's just because you need to be very assertive with these animals. You need to have some strength to handle them, be patient, build that bond, etc. And they're going to be wary of strangers, and you also don't want to put that on some friends who might be open to watching them but be stressed out about it while you're on vacation or something. The last thing you want is to be worrying about your dog and the person watching the animal while you're on vacation. So just be aware of that. There's always the option to board, but like I said, it's not always easy to find somebody to watch your shepherd. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you for joining us. And if you have any comments or pros and cons of your own about these dogs, questions, leave a comment below. And thanks for watching.